A man slept 8 hours every night, but woke up exhausted every single day. Then he met a woman at work. She slept the exact same amount, 8 hours, but had 3 times his energy. Her secret? She woke up at 5 a.m. He laughed. That's insane. Why would anyone do that? She looked him in the eye and said, "You start every day already losing." 1 year later, his life was completely unrecognizable. This is what happened in those 365 mornings at 5 a.m. Subscribe to The Bold Tale. His name was Marcus, 28 years old, and he was tired all the time. Not just physically tired, spiritually tired. Tired of living the same day over and over. Every morning his alarm went off at 7:30 a.m. Every morning he hit snooze, then hit it again and again. By the time he actually dragged himself out of bed, it was 8:15. He had exactly 45 minutes to shower, throw on wrinkled clothes, grab something to eat, and fight through traffic to arrive at work by 9. He started every single workday already stressed, already behind, already exhausted, and by evening, he was so completely drained that all he could do was collapse on the couch and scroll his phone until midnight. Then the cycle would repeat, day after day, week after week, year after year. Marcus hated his life, but he didn't know how to change it. One day at work, he noticed something about Diane, the senior manager. While everyone else looked stressed and tired, Diane seemed calm, energized, in control. She arrived at work at 8 a.m. looking fresh and put together. During meetings, she was sharp and focused. By 5 p.m., when everyone else was exhausted, she still had energy. Marcus finally asked her during a coffee break, "Diane, how do you do it? How are you always so on? What's your secret?" Diane smiled. "I wake up at 5 a.m. Marcus laughed, thinking she was joking. 5 a.m.? That's crazy. Why would anyone wake up that early? Diane's expression became serious. "Marcus, let me ask you something. What time do you wake up?" 7:30, Marcus replied. "And what do you do in the morning?" Diane asked. Marcus shrugged. "I hit snooze a few times, rush to get ready, fight traffic, arrive stressed." Diane nodded knowingly. "So you're starting every day in chaos, reacting, behind, already losing before you even begin." Marcus felt defensive but also curious. Diane continued, "When you wake up at 5 a.m., you get 3 quiet hours before the world starts making demands. From 5 to 8 a.m., you can exercise, plan your day, work on your goals, read, learn, create. By the time you start work at 9, you've already won. You've already accomplished more than most people do in a full day." Marcus was skeptical. "But aren't you exhausted waking up that early?" Diane shook her head. "I go to bed at 9:30 p.m. I get 7.5 hours of sleep. Same as you. The difference is, I'm in control of my morning. You're controlled by your morning." Something in her words struck Marcus. He had been living in reaction mode his entire adult life. Never in control. Always behind. "Okay," Marcus said impulsively. "I'll try it. 1 week. 5 a.m. wake up. If it doesn't work, I'm going back to sleeping in." Diane smiled. 1 week won't be enough to feel the full power, but it's a start. Let me warn you though, the first week will be the hardest thing you've ever done. That night, Marcus set his alarm for 4:50 a.m. He wanted 10 minutes to mentally prepare before getting up at 5. He went to bed at 10 p.m., earlier than usual. Felt weird. The sun was still barely down, but he was committed. At 4:50 a.m., the alarm went off. Marcus had never heard a sound so offensive in his life. His body was screaming. His mind was begging. Just this once, sleep in. You can start tomorrow. But he remembered Diane's calm confidence. He forced his eyes open, forced his legs to swing out of bed, forced himself to stand up. The moment he stood, his body wanted to collapse back into bed. Every cell in his body was protesting. But he walked to the bathroom and splashed cold water on his face. The shock jolted him more awake. He changed into workout clothes Diane had recommended buying the night before. And at 5:15 a.m., Marcus stepped outside for a morning run. The world was completely still. No cars, no people, no noise, just silence. And something about that silence felt powerful. Day 2 was even harder. The novelty was gone. His body was even more tired. The alarm went off. Marcus hit snooze. Then he remembered. Just 1 week. You committed to 1 week. He dragged himself up again. Day 3, his legs hurt from the unfamiliar running. His brain was foggy. He wanted to quit. This is stupid, he thought. I'm exhausted all day at work now. This isn't working. But something kept him going. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was curiosity. Day 4, something strange happened. He woke up 5 minutes before his alarm. His body was starting to adapt. Day 5, he noticed he wasn't hitting snooze anymore. He was still tired, but getting up was becoming automatic. Day 6, during his morning run, he had his first moment of clarity. A work problem he'd been stuck on for weeks suddenly had a solution. His mind, quiet and fresh at 5 a.m., could think clearly in a way it never could during the chaotic workday. Day 7, the end of his 1-week commitment. Marcus woke up at 5 a.m., and for the first time he didn't hate it. On day 8, Marcus decided to keep going, just to see what would happen. During his 5:30 a.m. run through the park, he noticed an elderly man running. The man looked to be in his 70s, but he was fit, energetic, moving with ease. They nodded at each other as they passed. The next morning, same thing. By day 10, the elderly man stopped and introduced himself. I'm George. I've seen you running every morning this week. New to the 5 a.m. club. Marcus laughed. Is it that obvious? George smiled. You have that look. The look of someone discovering something powerful. They started running together. George explained he'd been waking up at 5 a.m. for 40 years. 40 years. Marcus was shocked. That's incredible. Do you ever get tired of it? George shook his head. Son, I'll tell you something important. The person you become at 5 a.m. is different from the person you are at 8 a.m. or noon or midnight. At 5 a.m. you meet your truest self. No distractions. No excuses. No one to perform for. Just you and your potential. 1 month passed. Marcus couldn't believe the changes. His body had transformed. He'd lost 15 pounds without trying. His face looked clearer, younger. His eyes were bright. But the physical changes were nothing compared to the mental ones. At work, he was a different person. He arrived early before anyone else. He spent the first hour of his workday on his most important projects, the ones that would actually advance his career. Before 5 a.m., he had always spent his mornings on emails and meetings and other people's urgent demands. Now, he had already accomplished his most important work before the workday even started. His boss noticed. Marcus, what's gotten into you? Your work has been exceptional this month. His colleagues noticed. You seem different, more focused, more confident. Even his friends noticed. You're glowing. What are you doing differently? Marcus would smile and say, I wake up at 5 a.m. Most of them laughed and said, That's crazy. The same thing Marcus had said to Diane. But a few asked, Really? Tell me more. And Marcus realized he'd become the person others were curious about. Marcus asked George one morning, What do you actually do during those 3 hours from 5 to 8? George smiled. What don't I do? Let me show you my routine. From 5 to 5:30, George did light stretching and meditation. This centers my mind, he explained. From 5:30 to 6:15, he ran or exercised. This energizes my body. From 6:15 to 6:45, he showered, made a healthy breakfast, and read. This feeds my mind. From 6:45 to 7:30, he worked on his book. George had written and published 3 books, all during those morning hours. And from 7:30 to 8, I plan my day, review my goals, and prepare mentally for whatever work demands. Marcus was amazed. You accomplish more before 8 a.m. than I used to accomplish in an entire day. George nodded. Most people think they don't have time, but we all have the same 24 hours. The question is, are you spending them or are you investing them? When you sleep until 8 a.m., you're spending time. When you wake up at 5 a.m., you're investing it. And that investment compounds every single day. 3 months after Marcus started waking at 5 a.m., his life was unrecognizable. He had lost 25 pounds. He'd completed a half marathon, something he'd dreamed about for years but never started. He'd read 12 books, more than he'd read in the previous 3 years combined. He'd started a side business during his morning hours, just 1 hour a day from 7 to 8 a.m., working on his own project instead of someone else's. That's 30 hours a month. 90 hours in 3 months. That's more than 2 full work weeks of focused time on his dream. But the biggest change wasn't external. It was internal. Marcus felt different. He walked differently. He talked differently. He carried himself with quiet confidence. Because every single morning, he was proving to himself that he could do hard things. Every morning when that alarm went off at 4:50 a.m. and he got up anyway, he was building self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of all confidence. George explained the compound effect to Marcus during one of their runs. When you invest money, you don't see results immediately. You put in $100, and tomorrow it's still worth about $100. But you keep investing, day after day, month after month, year after year, and 20 years later, that compound interest has turned your small investments into wealth. He continued, the 5 a.m. habit is the same. The first day you feel exhausted. The first week you see nothing. The first month maybe small changes. But keep going. Month 3, significant changes. Month 6, your life looks different. Year 1, you're a different person. Year 5, people don't recognize you. Year 10, you've accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime. Marcus listened carefully. George added, and here's the secret most people miss. It's not about the wake-up time. It's about what the wake-up time gives you. It gives you control. It gives you time for yourself before the world makes demands. It gives you the power to invest in your own growth every single day. At 6 months, Marcus noticed something unexpected. His relationships had changed. His girlfriend Sarah noticed he was different. You're more present, she said one evening. More patient. More calm. Marcus realized. By taking care of himself first thing in the morning, he had more to give others. He wasn't running on empty anymore. At work, his boss called him into her office. Marcus, I'm promoting you to senior analyst. Your performance these past 6 months has been exceptional. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Marcus smiled, thinking of his 4:50 a.m. alarm. His friendships shifted too. Some friends drifted away, the ones who wanted to stay up until 2 a.m. partying. But new friendships formed, people who valued growth, who woke up early, who invested in themselves. He met other 5 a.m. people at the gym, in the park, at coffee shops. They formed an unspoken brotherhood, a nod of recognition. You're one of us. You understand. Because anyone can talk about discipline. Only those who wake up at 5 a.m. truly live it. 365 days, 52 weeks, 12 months, 1 full year of waking up at 5 a.m. Marcus stood in front of his mirror on day 365 and didn't recognize the person looking back. He'd lost 40 pounds. His body was lean and muscular, but that wasn't what caught his attention. It was his eyes. They were different, clear, focused, alive. A year ago they had been tired, defeated, dead. He'd read 48 books. He'd run 3 half marathons and 1 full marathon. His side business was generating real income enough to potentially quit his job if he wanted. He'd been promoted twice at work. He'd saved more money than ever before because waking up early meant he wasn't spending money on late-night entertainment. Most importantly, he'd proven to himself that he could commit to something difficult. Every single day, for an entire year. No excuses. No exceptions. When it was cold, he got up. When it rained, he got up. When he was sick, he still got up. And that built something inside him that no external success could match. Unshakable self-belief. People started asking Marcus for advice. How did you change so dramatically? What's your secret? At first, Marcus tried to downplay it. I just wake up early. But they wanted more. So he started sharing his journey. He told them about Diane, about the first brutal week, about George and the compound effect, about the 3 sacred hours from 5 to 8. Some people listened with genuine interest. Others made excuses. I'm not a morning person. I need my sleep. That won't work for me. Marcus recognized those excuses. He'd used them himself a year ago. He learned something important. You can't convince someone to change. They have to be ready. So he stopped trying to persuade people. Instead, he just lived his life. And the right people noticed. The ones who were ready for change. They would ask, "Will you help me start?" And Marcus would share what Diane had told him. The first week will be hell. But if you can survive the first week, something magical starts to happen. He helped 5 people start the 5 a.m. habit. Only 2 made it past the first month. But those 2, their lives transformed just like his. Marcus became curious about why 5 a.m. worked so powerfully. He researched the science. What he learned amazed him. From 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., your cortisol levels naturally rise. This is your body's wake-up hormone. By waking at 5, you're working with your biology, not against it. Your willpower is strongest in the morning. Studies show that people make better decisions, resist temptation more easily, and complete difficult tasks more successfully in the first hours after waking. Your brain produces more theta waves in the early morning, the same waves present during meditation. This is why early morning is perfect for creative work, deep thinking, and problem solving. The world is quiet. No notifications, no meetings, no demands. This allows for deep work, the kind of focused concentration that produces exceptional results. Exercise in the morning increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which grows new brain cells and improves memory. It also releases endorphins that last all day. Most successful people wake up early not because they're superhuman, but because they understand. The morning sets the tone for everything that follows. Marcus is now in year 2 of his 5 a.m. journey. The habit is no longer hard. It's who he is. His alarm goes off at 4:50 a.m. and he simply gets up. No negotiation. No internal battle. It's automatic. His side business is now his full-time business. He quit his corporate job to pursue his dream. The business that was built 1 hour at a time, from 7 to 8 a.m., every morning for 2 years. George celebrated his 73rd birthday. Still waking at 5 a.m. Still running. Still writing. 41 years of the 5 a.m. habit. You see, Marcus, George said during their run, the 5 a.m. habit isn't about waking up early. It's about choosing who you become. Every morning you choose. Will I be someone who keeps promises to myself, or someone who doesn't? Will I invest in my future, or waste my potential? Will I be in control, or be controlled? Marcus understood. The alarm at 4:50 a.m. wasn't just a wake-up call. It was a daily referendum on his character. And every day he voted, I am someone who does hard things. I am someone who keeps commitments. I am someone who invests in myself. That vote, cast every single morning, had completely changed his life. So here's the truth about the 5 a.m. habit. It's not magic. It's not easy. It won't change your life overnight. The first week will be brutal. You'll want to quit. You'll make excuses. Your body will scream. Your mind will negotiate. But if you push through that first week, something shifts. By week 2, it gets slightly easier. By week 4, you start seeing changes. By month 3, your life looks different. By month 6, people don't recognize you. By year 1, you've become someone new. The 5 a.m. habit isn't about the time you wake up. It's about who you become in those early hours when no one is watching. It's about keeping promises to yourself. It's about investing in your future. It's about taking control before the world makes demands. Your life will not change by luck or chance. It will change through daily choices, compounded over time. And the most powerful choice you can make is to wake up at 5 a.m. and invest those 3 sacred hours in becoming who you're meant to be. The question is not, can you wake up at 5 a.m.? The question is, who do you want to become? If the story inspired you, Set your alarm right now for 4:50 a.m. tomorrow. Subscribe to this channel, The Bold Tales, for more life-changing stories. And remember, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. Wake up tomorrow at 5 a.m. and see what happens. Your future self will thank you. We'll meet again in the next one. Thanks for listening.